I live in Chinatown.
I live in Soho.
I live in the wonderful neighborhood of Washington Heights.
I love New York City.
I love New York.
I do love New York City. Well, as a New Yorker, we always feel we have the right to complain about everything.
Yeah, rent is ridiculous.
The subway.
I can't stand the weather.
The garbage.
The tourists.
But there were a couple of things that truly bother me about New York.
Whenever I get outside of the city, you just remember how, air shouldn't have a smell, or if it does, it should be pleasant.
The smells of the garbage trucks in the morning, especially when there's a little downwind from those, horrendous odors.
Have you ever had somebody beg at your lunch table? That is real talk, okay?
It's like $18 a ticket to get into a movie, which I find is ridiculous. You could stay home and wait for it on pay-per-view.
Apathetic landlords are better than insane, in-your-business landlords.
What is it about owning property in New York City that makes you automatically sleazy?
Go for the guy that owns 10 buildings and won't be bothering you instead of the old lady that lives in your building and will throw your floor mat away because she doesn't like the color of it.
They'll find any excuse not to give you back a security deposit. They're like, "Oh, you walked on the floors." Sorry,
Don't try to get brunch on a weekend, ever. And every weekend I think I'm gonna have it in me to do it again. I'm like, this is the weekend I get to experience Eggs Benedict. I deserve it.
Oh, Times Square is the worst too. The tourists, and then you see these characters, and they try to rip you off for for a picture for 20 bucks? Ooh, they annoy the shit out of me.
Where else in the world can you go to see just 40-story high Aeropostale ads? You know, what art?
Too congested for me, too many people.
I want to see an Aeropostale ad that is just so large, I feel like I will never accomplish anything in my life.
They say the cockroaches will never die. They'll survive anything. They'll be here standing long after we are gone. And that's how I feel about Times Square.
Summers are horrible here. And then when it's summertime, we all want winter. But then when the winter's here, we want summer because the winters here are horrible too.
All the seasons in New York are sort of graded on a very bad curve. Even the best season is still any other place kind of the worst season in a way.
The weather in New York most of the time is either I need to rip all of my clothes off and I still want to kill myself, or I just don't want to leave the apartment because it's so cold.
I love winter, and you can enjoy a nice snowstorm in New York for about an hour. An hour after that, it's just gray, miserable soot snow.
Actually, I'm probably one of the few people who doesn't complain about the weather. New York City is an area where the weather changes, and that's one of the great things. People complain in the winter that it's too cold or too snowy, and then in the summer, of course, too hot and too humid, but that's part of the great things, I think, of New York City.
I often get asked, how does one become a billionaire? And my response is always the same. Why are you talking to me? I have decided to give back to the society that provides me with so many opportunities to avoid paying taxes.